All right, welcome back. We're back with the Pirate Pulse, the show. I'm Trey Scott. We got Chance Scott with us as well. Hey, man, we got a lot to cover. Before we get there, I want everybody to please give us a like, a subscribe, a comment, a follow. Follow us on X at the Pirate Pulse. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, the Pirate Pulse. We got Facebook, we got Instagram. We're posting videos, we're posting pictures, we're posting everything you can think of, guys. We're really attacking this, and we're really excited about ECU athletics. Please give us a follow, a comment. We enjoy talking back to our fans. Now let's go ahead and jump into it. It's been a very bad week for the Pirate baseball. Um, Man, anytime you lose the state at any sport, that's a bad day. That's a bad day. They dropped one to state 4-1 last Tuesday. Overall, the Pirates sit at 21-16 overall, 7-5 in AAC play after starting 6-0. After they did finally snap a 6-game losing streak. Good news, we got spring football to talk about as well. But before we get there, we're going to start with the baseball recap. Chance, let's talk about Tuesday, NC State, packed house at home. Just didn't go our way. What happened?
It just still feels like ECU just missing that moment. It's like all year they've had their chances and they just haven't capitalized. They've had UNC sold out crowd at home, NC State sold out crowd at home, and they just can't find a way to just get that big win to try to find a way to rally off this season. But really, it came down to two big errors from Alex Boucher and Keenan Bowman that both led to a run, and it just could have been a 2-1 game. I thought the pitching staff done more than enough to win this game. And if you look at NC State, what they've done this weekend, they picked up a big ranked series win at home against number 14 Louisville. So that's a pretty good ball club that I thought ECU pitching staff did really well against.
Man, errors are like turnovers. You just can't have it. Just can't have it in any sport. It's going to hurt you, man. You got to take advantage of your disadvantages, and you can't give the other team freebies. Moving on. Then we head down to Charlotte, a road series down on the other side of the state. Charlotte's not a joke of a team, and they showed it. They showed it. You know, they won the series 2-1. You kept a real close eye on this one. Friday night, it was the Pirates were non-existent. I mean, as it showed in the scoreboard, they lost 6-0. Talk to me.
Man, just Charlotte pitcher, man. He was the guy when Ethan Norby had 19 strikeouts. He had threw a no-hitter on the same day, and they got co-OSE pitcher of the week that week. And he just had a better game than Ethan Norby. I think we're starting to see the Ethan Norby not really downfall, but starting to see the tax on his arm of having to throw a true, 8-9 starts, and it's catching up to him. But he's doing all he can out there. Their pitcher was good. He threw 8 innings of shutout baseball, and somebody's doing that. It's pretty hard to get a win. They played good defensively. ECU's only run chance was a double, I think, by Dixon Williams, and Trammell got through out at home. So that was just a tough game for ECU, and I keep saying tough game, but they're just getting outmatched here lately.
Then moving to game 2, they lost another one 3-2. This time it was actually close. Just ECU couldn't deliver in the clutch moments. And we've seen this a lot as well. We've seen the bases loaded a lot especially during the beginning of the season. We saw a couple losses where they just didn't capitalize, and I felt like this was one of those games. It kind of reminded me of one of the first couple of games where we know we should have won. We had the chances to win and just did not deliver. Let's talk about game 2 in Charlotte on Saturday.
Yeah, man, I thought ECU they looked dead all game long. They looked dead. It was 3-0, and then a huge Jack Herring 2 RBI double to get ECU right back in this game. And when I thought he hit it, I thought it was bases loaded. I thought it was a grand slam, and I thought that was the moment to get ECU back on the right track. And it just fell short of the wall, got a double, and ECU was pretty quiet from there. They had, I think, the worst part to make this loss feel worse, had runners on second and third with one out, and Roger Vergara hit one of his hardest baseballs of the year right at the shortstop, and it doubles up to do that second base. And not much you can do. I mean, you'd like to see your runner get back on second base. That's what Cliff Godwin said, but it's just a freshman making a mental mistake, and I feel like we've seen a lot of mental mistakes lately. But you get experience now that he'll learn to get back on that base next time in that situation.
Moving to Sunday, new week, new day, new team. The Pirates come out and get the W, man. Thank God it didn't go to 7-game lose streak. Thank God they didn't get swept for back-to-back series. Um, offensively, obviously they woke up. It was 12-4 win. Like I said, avoided the sweep, gained some momentum heading into the week. How big was this win? How big was it avoiding this back-to-back sweep?
Man, if you get swept back to back weekends, you can, I mean, practically say the season's over unless you win the conference tournament. But that win, it keeps you alive. You got to still make a lot of magic happen to get in before the tournament. But it's just, it's struggling because you saw that offense on Sunday and you're like, man, where's this been the last 6 games? But, if they can rally off this performance that they had on Sunday with, they hit the ball all over the park against still a pretty good Charlotte bullpen. This team can be what we thought it was during during the spring, and just we thought this team early could be good, and they showed flashes on Sunday.
All right, and let's go take a step back. Let's look at the overall picture. What's going wrong? What are some key takeaways right now? What sticks out to you as in the issues to ECU baseball?
I think the biggest one for me is just all the errors. There's where ECU's making a lot of mistakes in the field, and it's really costing them. You look back at the state game we already talked about with the 2, and you only give up 2 earned runs in that game, and they've made so many errors. Alex Boucher, he leads the team in errors. I believe he leads the conference in errors, and that's just not really what you want from a junior shortstop. So it's been tough for them. I don't really know where they go to replace that many errors. He's probably the best shortstop on the team with the most experience. So it's just, what does ECU do with just your 2/3 of the way season?
All right, what about the offensive side? A little bit inconsistent wise. Where do you stand there with the offense?
Yeah, Friday I really didn't worry because they were seeing a guy that's going to get drafted. So I mean,
Right. Space.
just that's one of those games that, hey, that dude was just better than you, and you kind of gotta accept that he had a better game than you. But Saturday was just, I don't know if they had the same bad energy or what's been going on, but we've talked. I think the last 6 of 7 games before Sunday were all under 2 runs for ECU, and their air does not win you baseball games. So that's tough for them. They got to find a way to bounce back, and they got a huge week, and they need offense this week bad.
So we talked about the offense, talked about the defense, the pitching. What have you taken away from the pitching after, let's see, how many games is it? Now we're 37 games in.
Man, I thought this pitching staff's done probably more than what you could ask. If you told me, before that first preseason meeting that ECU was going to be down 2 weekend starters and Ethan Norby was going to be my Friday night guy, I told you I'd have been very worried, just because I didn't know how the bullpen was going to react with so many freshmen and so many new guys and new situations. But man, I thought they've done enough to keep ECU in a lot of series, win ECU a lot more games. Early Ethan Norby, he deserved probably the UNC win in Durham. He deserved the next weekend start. Just, I thought they've done a really good job. They haven't had a lot of offense support in some games, and that's really cost them a lot of wins.
What do you think about the young freshman, Sean Jenkins? We put a high expectation on him, as well deserved. During the press conferences, during media day, everybody talked about him, including the coaches, including the players. Do you think he has underperformed? And this is no jab at the freshman. I mean, he is a freshman. Like, we going to keep saying that he should be a senior in high school, but the expectations was very, very high.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say a disappointment because this kid's 17 years old. He can't even vote. So I don't think he didn't get off to the best start. He didn't have his off speed stuff early in the season, and I think that kind of hurt him. He got 2 bad performances, and I think that kind of got to his head. But I mean, his last 2 performances. I mean, he threw Tuesday against State, went 2 innings, only gave up 3 hits. He gave up 1 earned run against a really good ball team. So I was proud of that performance, and then he followed it up on Sunday. Man, 6 innings of only 4 hits, 1 earned run. Just that Sunday, the way he looked was the preseason, just all the hype that we had seen all preseason. That's exactly what he looked like. So I think he's catching on at probably the best time for ECU to have him coming along. So we'll see. It's still, I think whatever he does this year is just he's learning, he's building blocks.
Mhm.
Just he's young, and I'm super excited for his future.
Totally agree. With the higher the expectations, the larger the room for disappointment. I'm not saying he is a disappointment, not saying he has not performed. I'm just saying the higher expectations, the more he has to live up to, and that's not fair to the kid.
Yeah.
He still has his own legacy to build and etc. But yeah, I agree with you. We got to give him time. He's been improving. As long as he just keeps improving, that's all we could ask for. We didn't ask for him to be Randy Johnson day one. The world might have wanted him to be, but that's not fair to him. And as long as we see development, I think the kid's good to go, and I stand on that. All right, let's look at the overall AAC standings update. UTSA is leading the way, 10-2. Tied in second is USF and Charlotte at 8-4. Tied in fourth is ECU and Tulane at 7-5. FAU, UAB, Wichita State, Memphis, and Rice follow, tied in fifth in last place. Quick outlook notes: hosting a regional is off the table for the Pirates now. Still in striking distance for the top AAC tournament seed, but they must win the upcoming one versus UAB, which is 4-8 in the AAC. And once again, we get the Seahawks one more time. UNCW midweek. Can't drop that one. I think the series is tied 1-1 with them right now, right?
Yep, 1-1.
So I'm sure they're looking to get their face back. And let's start their chance. UNCW versus ECU at home. What do you got on this one?
Man, that first game, and Fayetteville, we were up there. UNCW was the best team for 9 straight innings. There was no doubt. And then when I went up to Wilmington, it felt like ECU had some energy, and then UNCW just kept clawing back, and it was just like, man, just ECU's going to lose this one at the right there at the end again. And they had the grand slam, and in that moment, you feel like that was a season changer moment. It turned out maybe it wasn't, but I mean, you get a chance to get a good team at home, pick up a big win at home in front of should be another rowdy crowd. There ain't many more games at Clark Clare, so ECU fans got to fill it out. You win this one, you go win 2 or 3 this weekend, and then right there, you're looking at the season could be right back in striking distance for you.
And talking on this weekend's big. Either you're going to show that you're a bottom of the barrel team, or you're going to show you're a superior team. If you play down to this competition this weekend, no shots against UAB, but let's be realistic. Let's talk stats. UAB is 4-8 at the bottom of the AAC conference. You have to show you belong as a superior AAC contending team. ECU cannot drop the ball this weekend. They have to get their wins. They have to stack their wins in the win column, regardless what happens against UNCW. This weekend is a must win. Not only a must win, I'm calling it chance. It's a must sweep. They have to take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't want to call it a must sweep just because how hard is the sweep, but I mean, you've got a good point. I mean, this season hasn't gone very well for ECU, so I mean, a 4 a week, it might be a must have at this point, but I do think the good thing that ECU still has, they get to play UTSA, which is in first. So you get a chance to make up some games right there with them, and you play South Florida, who's tied for second. So you take care of this series, and then the next 2 series ahead of you, you could be a chance looking at being the number 1 seed in the conference tournament.
And that's big. That's big. That's the best. That's the best chances they can ask for. Now moving forward to another sport, one of our favorites, one of our fans' favorites, spring football. And we got the portal time coming up Wednesday. Opens up. But before we even get into portable, let's talk about what we've been seeing at spring practice. I personally am excited. I think the intensity there is there. I think the guys are competing. I'm seeing new faces make plays. I'm seeing returners make plays. I think this is a good start for ECU football, and I think they're going to be a very competitive football team. What have you seen from spring football so far?
Man, we've seen what a second year of John David Baker offense looks like. They look like a really, really scary offense, and it just feels like if they put the pieces together on defense, that this could be one of those special years in Greenville to have some really sold out crowds and big games. But I think my favorite room so far has been the running back room.
Yeah.
But we know of guys of like London Montgomery and Marlon Gunn and just what they've done, but new guys like Parker Jenkins and a running back from a DB and Josh Benton, man, that's 4 dudes right there that any one of them can touch the ball, and I feel pretty excited about them.
Do you feel like the offense is going to be focused around the running back room, or you think there's just going to be a big part of the offense?
Just from what we've seen last year, I think it's just a big part. JDB has called games multiple different ways. He called the NC State game pretty even. 3rd and 10 run play. Whoever would have thought of that from a passing offense, and it worked. So I'm pretty excited to see what he does. I mean, we got a returning quarterback, 2 returning wide receivers, 2 returning running backs, a pretty solid offensive line coming back. So you're getting a lot of your pieces right there. It's just going to be if they stay healthy, just how many points can they put up each game?
And flipping aside, not only those guys, but man, there's some monsters on that defensive line. I'm talking about monsters on that defensive line, and that's good because they lost some guys on that defensive line. What have you seen from this unit so far?
Yeah, this and cornerback were my 2 biggest worries coming in. Just you're losing so many guys of, Sherrod Ware, a 4-year guy, Deontay Johnson, a 5-year guy, just Chad Morris, a 5-year guy, CJ Mims is over there at Carolina now. That's 4 dudes right there that you got to replace that way you're 1 and 2 deep. So they replaced a lot, and we've seen a lot of the guys that were under them come up and make big plays, man. Preston Carr looks absolutely massive. He's making plays. It feels like every snap he's in there. Zion Wilson, he's a 4th-year senior, and he's finally getting his chance right here, and he looks like he really wants to go out there and prove that he belongs to play.
All right, let's talk about linebacker position. Sam Danka at linebacker, man. He moved from safety to linebacker. Let's talk about him in spring ball. I know you've been watching him, been keeping your eye on him. Somebody you want to talk about. What have you seen from Sam?
Yeah, man. It's just last year he was a safety, a defensive lineman, a line, but he was just anywhere that they could find to put him, he was there. But this year he's just full linebacker, and I love that, man. He's everywhere making plays. He broke up 2 passes on Friday at the scrimmage, and I'm like, there's just no way that's my middle linebacker making that play. And then he got a sack. It's just like, man, this guy stays healthy. He's the best dude on the field, probably on both sides. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes.
Freakish athlete, long, like you said, don't know what he is. He's just an athlete. He's long. He looks like he could play defensive end, but then he runs and looks like he can play corner.
Yeah.
A very long, freakish athlete. He talked to us after the first spring ball practice, and the leadership's there. He knows he has to take on that leadership role. And being in that linebacker position, there's no doubt you got to be a leader. And it's great that he's taking on that role. And I'm very excited to keep up with this guy as well. Okay. Hey, guys, this is the Pirate Pulse. Hey, don't forget, follow us on the Pirate Pulse. Subscribe to us. Talk to us. Give us a like, comment, share. We got videos. We got podcasts. We got baseball updates. Man, we got post-game interviews. We got press conference interviews. Everything you need is right here with the Pirate Pulse on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We call it X. Or even YouTube. Hey, give us a subscribe. Everything is free. This is nothing but free content. This is for you, the fans. Everything we got, we're giving it to you. We're going to keep up with you guys and talk about ECU baseball getting back into the win column. They have to do it this week, as well as spring football has a lot going on right now. Got a spring game coming up. Don't miss your information. We're giving it to you for free, guys. Not only that, we're giving you recruiting profiles. We're giving you talking to recruits about recruiting visits. We done talked to Tyreek Coffer from Kinston High, is the best wide receiver in the state. Check that article out. We done talked about Michael Conan, who is a 5'9" running back from Myrtle Beach who squats 500 pounds. Like, we got some good stuff for you guys. Check out our content. Most importantly, follow us. I'm Trey Scott.
I'm Chance Scott. We got one more part, Trey.
What's that?
We talked about the portal, and there's some sneaky teams trying to poke some guys around.
What's going on in the portal, Chance?
Blake Harrell, he didn't tell us exactly which team and, not exactly which player, but he said there's some guys poking around trying to get some guys from Greenville. So, man, Team Boneyard, extremely important. Keep donating NIL. Let's keep this roster here and not lose anybody that's super special.
Amen to that. Hey, we'll see you next episode. Give us a follow on all social media. This is the Pirate Pulse.